afternoon. I'm Brianna Newburg. Today, my life is full of the beautiful, loud chaos of homeschooling 3 kids with a 4th coming this May. But 16 years ago, I was a college senior in a state of total panic. When I saw that positive pregnancy test, I didn't see a future. I only saw a problem that needed to disappear. I felt trapped and scared. I didn't weigh my options or seek advice. I let fear make my decisions for me. I called Planned Parenthood and had a medical abortion right here in Iowa. I'm here today to share my story, to reveal the lies that I was told that day, to share the truth about life in the womb, and to testify that Jesus is the true Redeemer. When I arrived at the facility, they first brought me to the ultrasound room to confirm that I was pregnant. During the ultrasound, they had the computer monitor turned away from me, so I couldn't see anything that they were looking at. When they were finally done looking at what they needed to see, they asked if I wanted to see the ultrasound. I said yes, I did want to see it. So they clicked around the computer a while before they finally turned the screen around to show me. However, all I saw on the screen was a still picture of a black, round blob. There was no movement, no life at all. They told me, see, it's just a clump of cells. It isn't a baby yet. Well, that was a relief for me to hear because it removed any lingering guilt I had about having this abortion. So as soon as they handed me the first pill to start that process, I grabbed it and swallowed it right away. I wanted to get this over before it became a baby. They prescribed the rest of the pills that I was to take that night to force my body to pass the pregnancy, as they called it, along with an extra strength painkiller. Then I was told how to take the pills and was sent on my way. They did not discuss other options with me. They never mentioned anything about fetal development or the fact that my baby had a heartbeat. They also did not explain what to expect during the abortion at home. They just confirmed that I was pregnant, gave me the medication, and sent me home. The following night, I took the 4 pills of misoprostol by holding them in my mouth between my cheeks and gums for about 30 minutes or so. At the end of that time, I was supposed to swallow what remained of the pills. However, the moment those pills touched my tongue, I immediately threw up. I panicked, thinking that I had ruined the abortion since I couldn't swallow the pills. I called an emergency hotline number they gave me to see if I needed to take more. However, they advised that this is a normal reaction to the pills. In fact, that's why I had to hold them in my cheeks for some time before attempting to swallow them. That way they knew enough of the medication was already absorbed by my body. I couldn't help but wonder why Planned Parenthood didn't warn me about this if it was a perfectly normal reaction to the pills. I felt ill-informed and unequipped for what I went through during the abortion. Another part of the abortion that they did not warn me about was the amount of pain and blood that I would experience. It was absolutely awful. I honestly thought that I was dying that night. It was a terrifying experience, and I was all alone throughout the whole process. The physical recovery was long. It took 2 months for the bleeding to stop. Since my abortion, I have gone on to have 3 natural, unmedicated births and 2 miscarriages, and I still have never bled even close to what I did during that abortion. It was very unnatural, and it was horrible. After the procedure, I spent months physically recovering, but the spiritual weight was heavier. Planned Parenthood told me it wasn't a baby yet, but my conscience told a different story. I carried a suffocating amount of guilt and shame, convinced this was a secret I would take to my grave. Every time I heard the word abortion, I cringed. It was a mirror I didn't want to look into, so I did the only thing I knew how to do. I buried it. I tried to forget, hoping that if I ignored the past, I could outrun the shame. But the Lord had other plans. Exactly 1 year later, I was born again. For the first time, I understood that I was created by God for a purpose, but I also finally saw the depth of my sin. As I grew in my faith, the weight of what I had done became even heavier. I grieved for the child I didn't choose, and for a long time, I felt like I didn't deserve the chance to be a mother again. I finally had to face the truth of the life that was lost, and confessed that I had an abortion to a couple close friends. Confessing my sin was the beginning of my healing journey, and it allowed me to experience God's grace so much more. That is the beauty of the gospel. I learned that my sin, as dark as it was, had been paid for. Jesus didn't just see my mistake. He saw my rebellion and chose to take my place on the cross anyway. He conquered death and rose from the grave to offer me a life I didn't earn. By turning from my sin and trusting in him, I wasn't just moving on, I was washed clean. My past no longer has a grip on me because true freedom isn't found in forgetting, it's found in the redemption of Jesus Christ. After giving my life to Christ, I began to learn the truth about what happened to me and my baby during that abortion. Slowly, God revealed the truth to me in a gentle way and allowed me to recover and heal in Christ. Several years later, after going through a faith-based recovery program for post-abortive women, I was given a documentary about Planned Parenthood to watch. In this documentary, a prior employee of Planned Parenthood talked about how they were trained to convince women to go through with the abortion once they stepped into the facility. She explained that on an ultrasound, you can see that we have a lot of random black blobs in our abdomen. So if a woman wanted to see the ultrasound, they were instructed to freeze the screen over one of those many blobs and show her a still image of it to convince the woman that her pregnancy was not a baby yet. I immediately knew that this is exactly what happened to me. I was shown just that, a motionless picture of a black blob. Not long after this, I contacted Planned Parenthood and requested to have a copy of all my medical records. I received a manila envelope full of paperwork. In that envelope was a picture of the actual ultrasound they took that day. And no, it did not look like a black blob that they showed me on the screen. The picture of my actual ultrasound in my medical records clearly showed a baby with arms and legs and a head. They intentionally lied when they said it wasn't a baby. They intentionally showed me a fake ultrasound image on that day. When I had the proof of the real ultrasound in my hands, I broke down in tears. I felt betrayed by an organization that I had trusted to help me in my most vulnerable moment. Another important fact that was kept from me was how the chemical abortion actually ended the life of my baby. Many years after the abortion, I found out that the first pill I took at the facility that day, mifepristone, effectively cut off the supply of oxygen and nutrients to the baby. Essentially, my baby was suffocated and starved to death. Of course, Planned Parenthood didn't explain this to me, because in order to do so, they'd have to admit that it was, in fact, a baby. I stand before you today not as a victim of my past, but as a beneficiary of God's grace. My abortion no longer defines me. My identity is in Christ, and He has blessed me with an amazing, strong, and caring husband, and soon to be 4 beautiful children made so wonderfully in His image. He has showered me with undeserved blessings because of His grace, and I am eternally grateful. To any woman here who is carrying a secret like mine, there is no sin so dark that the light of Christ cannot reach it. You don't have to hide anymore. And to everyone here, this is why we show up, to save the baby in the womb, and to save the mother from the lifetime of lies and what-ifs that I have lived through. My desire is for abortion to become unthinkable. We serve a God who takes what was broken and makes it whole. He took a terrified college senior who saw her child as a problem and turned her into a mother who sees every life as a miracle. Let's leave here today committed to the truth that life is a gift, the womb is a sanctuary, and Jesus Christ is the only one who can truly set us free. Thank you.